If we could address you directly right now.
Everything comes full circle.
That's number one.
I don't tell him what questions to ask me.
There are a lot of people around town that have the same question.
Brush my teeth. I'm going to get washed in the morning.
I can't confirm or deny.
You know, just keep going a little bit longer here, Mike. Keep going a little bit longer.
You know what I love, Steve? Being a jerk.
Listen, dude, we've been doing a show for 90 minutes.
If I had a chance to listen to the last call, we game plan for PJ Hall.
Uncle.
I have a list of guys I would never hang out with. Your name is right on the top.
Do you like the worst song bracket we're doing?
It's considerably better than the supplement bracket. Let's start with that.
I won a limbo contest.
Oh, my God.
Fran Brown joining us.
These guys are working their butts off. They expect to see their fans.
You want extra money just because you're North Carolina? I'm in all right
What
now.
an honor for you and Jordan to be next to me.
every
daily.
day.
This is Orange Nation.
There's music, there's fun, there's us. It's everything you could want all in one place.
With Stephen Fonte and Paulie Sibilia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us. Alongside Paulie Sibilia, I'm Stephen Fonte as we welcome you into a Friday edition of Orange Nation. We've got a couple of guests lined up for you, both in hour number 2. We'll kick off the second hour with the voice of the Orange, Matt Park. A lot to get to with him. Basketball, football, lacrosse. It's all on the table. Jackson Roberts, 1:30, MLB writer for the Sporting News. Plus, we'll mix in your phone calls throughout, especially in hour number 1 at 315-437-7644. What's up, Paulie?
Not much, Steve. How was your night?
It was good.
How'd you sleep?
Not great. It's been a rough week. It's been a rough week.
You are on a heater of badness.
Yeah.
A slump is what they would call it.
I need the weekend to recover.
I am way behind right now.
With your vast responsibilities?
Yeah, I am. Don't have anything open on my computer.
You want to talk some sports for the next 2 hours?
Sure. Let's hit quickly the note that we got about John Wildhack, because we've been saying the word recuse a lot, Jordan said. John Wildhack's on the NCAA tournament committee, and hopefully we hear that he has recused himself from the room.
That would be a good thing. That would mean that Syracuse is under consideration. Yes.
Hopefully he really doesn't even need to recuse himself. They just know, oh, yeah, that's a 3 seed right there. That's a 5 seed.
Well, I think he still has to leave the room when they're talking about seedings and whatnot. But yes.
I hope it's not like North Carolina where he's recusing himself because
whether or not they got in.
Yeah. Let's have a nice, relaxing year.
Yeah. Him leaving the room would be a good sign, though. Let's just put it that way. Whatever the conversation is, if he leaves the room, that's a good sign.
I want the word recusal and John Wildhack in the same sentence in March.
Songs about recusing?
It's like we want to be playing in meaningful games. I want John Wildhack being recused in March.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. 1 of 12 on the committee. You look at the other members on the committee. Our good friend. I don't know if he's our good friend. He was a friend at one time. Mark Coyle from Minnesota is on the committee.
Hardly knew you.
I know, right? he wasn't here long enough to become a good friend.
Is he hired? Who hired Dino Babers? Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that he wasn't here long enough to. For us to get to know him all that well, but he's on the committee.
We didn't get to hate him like we hate everybody else involved with Syracuse sports.
So there you go. He's on the committee. He will serve a 5-year term. Was nominated by Jim Phillips, ACC commissioner. It's the committee's a mix of ADs and conference commissioners, and he is one of 12 that will be on the committee for the next 5 years.
Okay, his term has begun.
Yes, I think technically it starts September 1st, but yes.
If they don't make the tournament this year, he will be impeached immediately.
We should also mention, I think, as we kick off the show, the big football news from last night, and that is Syracuse went out and got another wide receiver in Jonte Cook, who had been linked to the program, and it sounded like things were trending in the right direction. And sure enough, they got him last night. Spent 2 years at Texas. Transferred to Washington momentarily. He was there for like a couple of weeks in December before he hit the portal again. Never suited up for the Huskies, and now he is a member of the Orange, and he's got 2 years of eligibility left. Talent not an issue with him.
Correct. Yes, and it's another one of those. Syracuse did not beat out Buffalo, Bowling Green, and Kent State for a receiver. They got a guy who had Texas and Washington on his team.
And had visited Arizona State, and he is he's coming here.
He apparently feels that the quarterback at Syracuse will be able to get him the football.
Whoever that is.
Yeah.
Whoever that is, whether it's Ricky Collins or Steve
Unlike
Angeli.
other people we've heard about.
Yes. Although at the time, Steve Angeli was not a possibility for Trevor Pena, but they've improved the quarterback room. Again, that doesn't mean Ricky Collins isn't going to get the job. I'm just saying they've improved the quarterback room, and I think they've, you look at what they've done this week. They've improved themselves up front on both sides of the ball along the offensive and defensive line, and then to pick up a skill position player like Jonte Cook, that is very encouraging. He continues, Fran Brown continues to go in the portal, and he's getting done what he needs to get done. He's, targeting some guys, and he must have a pretty darn good sales pitch because he's batting a pretty good batting average with these transfers that he wants.
Yeah, and so is it changing your opinion on the toughness of schedule? Do you think these guys could go out and win some games now?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think
too many question marks at the quarterback still.
I think it can happen. As I said earlier in the week, and I got some pushback on this, I said if they don't have a successful year in terms of the win-loss record, I think it's going to be because their schedule turns out to be very daunting. Like, I think we think it is, but it turns out to be every bit as good as we expected, because from a talent perspective, Syracuse still has a lot of talent. And
it's just never played.
Right. And you
You've
don't know
grow.
what it's going to look like. And right off the bat, you're playing Tennessee.
You're very lucky last year to have, a lot of older guys.
Let me ask you this.
Marlo Wax.
Let me ask you this. And not to interrupt you, but you raised an interesting point because you said a lot of questions. If one of those questions were off the board, in that, let's say Kyle McCord applied for the waiver, the appeal, and got it, and he's the only question, like every other question's still on the table, but Kyle McCord was back with this roster, what would you think about next year?
I think they could pull off 2 wins against the better teams.
So you think, like 9-3, you're thinking is back on the table?
Yeah.
It's interesting because, that just goes to show you how valuable he was to the team.
Because then you probably keep Pena, right?
Okay, fair point.
And then
I was kind of looking at it like your roster is what it is, just you add Kyle McCord to it. But okay, I'll let you have Pena back for the sake of this argument.
because that's I think they would come 1 and 2, or you couldn't afford both. But I think they're winning 2 of those games is on the table, maybe even 3.
Yeah. It's interesting. So again, that leads you to the follow-up question is if. And I'm not saying Steve Angeli or Ricky Collins are going to be Kyle McCord right out of the gate, but if they can be some semblance of what he brought to the game, right? You wonder what can be on the table, because again, talent-wise, like you look at the line he's putting together, and you look at again the skill position players. I know that Jonte Cook, played sporadically down there at Texas, only had 16 catches in 2 years, but again, you look at what his skill set is, and by all accounts, like talent is not an issue with Jonte Cook. He had some issues down there at Texas, but it was not talent related. Kid could play football, so we'll see if we'll see what he looks like in Orange, and we'll see. The biggest question is obviously the quarterback position, and if Steve Angeli and or Ricky Collins, as you said, can manage a game, you wonder what they'll be able to do against this schedule.
And you want to get way ahead of yourself, Steve? If they keep everybody, say Collins or Angeli has a great year, the receivers pan out, the line pans out, but it's growing pains this year. You roll into the 2026 schedule is very favorable. You've got New Hampshire, Toledo, UConn is your non-conference, and Notre Dame.
Is Notre Dame at home though?
Notre Dame at home, and then your conference games are Virginia, SMU at home, Louisville at home, Clemson at home. I mean, it's still a difficult schedule, but you got them at home. Cal, Pitt, North Carolina, BC.
That's manageable. That's doable. You hope you can hang on to a majority of these guys.
Yeah,
you know,
and if you can, the future's very bright.
Yeah,
got to wear shades.
That could be a theme. Songs about sunglasses.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. I like this. You're thinking way ahead.
I am. Well, you posed you gave me a task yesterday. You said every Thursday I got to come up with a topic, so I'm starting to think. All right. So yeah, big news last night as Fran Brown continues to he added a handful of players this week from the portal, and this this team continues to improve. This roster continues to improve here in the offseason. You want to take a time out here? Or do you want to get to the question that Jordan posed to us on our rundown? Oh, you're looking at it for the first time at 10 after the hour.
You didn't need to point that out.
Well, you made it a point to shake your paper on the mic.
Nobody in his head. I could have been picking up the newspaper. People don't know. This is a radio program.
Those watching on QSportsTalk.com saw what you did.
You don't know. They don't know what I'm holding in my hand. Could be a live read. Are you trying to market something? Is it better to be a program with consistently high expectations that are difficult to fulfill, or a program thought of as middle of the road that has room to overachieve?
That was the question posed to us by Jordan. You want to chew on that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Because it is a good question. Because it kind of goes to what Dino's philosophy was. It's better to be consistently good than occasionally great. Yeah.
What's better is to be
always
consistently great. Yes.
Yeah, great. Great period.
All the time.
Period.
All right. I'll give you 4 minutes to think about that. Let's take a break. We'll open up the phone lines, 315-437-7644. Matt Park, 1 o'clock. Jackson Roberts, 1:30. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
It's time for Your Best Guess, sponsored by Pawn Pro on Erie Boulevard East in
Tuesday,
Syracuse.
we discussed that
with your
yesterday,
favorite
by the
local
way, on
sports
basketball
guys,
with
Brian
his
and
huge
Paulie.
miss, as
of
you
these
say,
items
on
that
Jared
Pawn Pro
Valencia
sold
going to
recently,
Wichita
which one
State.
sold for the most? A Hulk Hogan Hasbro mail-away figure, a
they
Mickey
missed
Mantle
him
signed
because
baseball,
Wichita
a
State
2016
has more
Syracuse
minutes
Final
for him.
Four championship ring, a Mike Tyson autographed Nintendo cartridge,
It
or a
doesn't
sealed
take
original
rocket
release 1984
ship science,
VHS of
as Coach P would
Ghostbusters.
say, to figure out a Mike Tyson autographed Nintendo cartridge. I beat him. They're not getting another forward.
Here's my answer,
Paulie.
I saw you in a sharpshooter, so I'm going with Hulk Hogan because of
probably
wrestling
get
is popular.
another 5.
The answer is the VHS tape of the Ghostbusters.
Oh, sorry. You shut your mouth. So that's the exit. I get it, you morons. I hate this job. I'm not talking anymore during the commercials.
Why?
Because I just hate it. I hate my life. I hate everything. I am not good at my job. I say that every day, right, Steve? I think that comes out of my mouth at least once a day. I suck at my job.
Yeah, I think so.
I just had a really good meeting with the owner, though. He complimented me twice. That's the first 2 times in 15 years.
About what? Share with the class.
No.
Okay.
No, we're just planning out. I was meeting with the salespeople. Oh, I wish he had ham. Yeah, because nobody ever says, I hate this job in their life about their work. Oh, somebody asked about Weitzman. He got back to me and said, I will try and reach out to you when I can. But I can say this, it won't be on our platform, but he will be sitting down with somebody and doing an hour-long interview. So be watching for that.
You want to tell me what's going on?
No. But he will be speaking soon. I wasn't dissed. I will let whoever's doing it share the news. I don't want to steal thunder. It's not my job to announce.
Tell me.
No.
Why not? Interesting.
So I think he dissed. He was very polite. He was very polite to me. He said he will talk to me. Hey, what's up, Michael? So you hopefully will get your answers. No one peed in my Wheaties. I just hate pushing buttons. I hate pushing buttons. Did he call me my correct name? Yeah. Why wouldn't he call me my correct name? I've met him multiple times. I used to sit right next to him. I had a classic moment with Adam Weitzman where I was FaceTiming Alec Baldwin with Jimmy Fallon sitting next to me, and we were all chatting. Know this one, Steve?
I do.
Songs about clocks and time.
Work time.
Yeah, clocks was not good. I tried to make it, hey, you've got to be looking at a clock for this song to make sense. This is Culture Club, Time, Clock of the Heart.
In parentheses?
Yes, making it a great song. Off the album Kissing to Be Clever, 1983.
Did you enjoy today's? Did you enjoy putting today's set list together?
I did. It was fun. Brian helped.
Good.
Brian is digging the theme.
Good
Topic. So every Friday, Steve will pick a theme. And
I think he keeps it fresh. I like it.
All right.
All right. So Jordan posed a question to us before the show, but with you, it was in show as you looked at it 10 minutes in. So the question is, again, in case you just
joined, rolls in 5 minutes before the show.
I was here a half hour ahead of time today.
Okay, yeah, today. But
class is over now. I'm gonna be showing up so early. You're gonna be sick of me,
Mister. I walk in as the show starts, and all of a sudden is throwing shade at me.
Class is over. The summer, you're gonna be like, oh, Steve's here again. All right. So the question posed to us: is it better to be a program with consistently high expectations that are difficult to fulfill, or a program thought of as middle of the road that has room to overachieve? So again, I think men's lacrosse, you look at it as a program that the expectations are high every year. Preseason number 2 this year, the expectations for a long time were Final Four or bust. I think this year that was the expectation, Final Four or bust. Is that better, or is it better to? I mean, I think
look.
What?
This is a simple question. We were spoiled as kids. Syracuse was great at football, basketball, and lacrosse.
Yes,
great. And that's where it needs to be again. That is all.
So you would prefer great expectations that are hard to meet?
Yes. Because, there's times we all had heartbreaks, but you'd rather go into would you rather go in, this begs the question, all right? Would you rather have the year of, let's say, the Michael Carter Williams year that was average, but you made it to the Final Four? Or would you rather have the year you were number one in the nation a lot and you lost to Richmond?
You would rather make the Final Four.
You would?
I think so. You disagree?
I don't know. But that's the question. Is it better? Because if your expectations are higher and you disappoint, everything's going to be a disappointment.
I think it depends. To answer this question, I think it depends on who you are being asked the question. If you're a coach, like obviously you want your program to be good year in and year out. I think it's easier to be a coach of a program that the expectations are middle of the road and then you have room to improve, obviously, right? Because if you are the coach of a program that your expectations are sky high every year, the fans are going to be disappointed more often than not, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Right?
Like Michael Antonio says, in basketball, we expect a top 4 seed in the NCAA every year. That is impossible, first of all.
Well, that used to be the expectation.
Yeah. But the landscape of college basketball was way different.
Sure.
But making the tournament every year should be a no-brainer for Syracuse.
To your point, though, going back to, let's say, the 90s, right, when you said when we were growing up, go back to the 90s. The expectation every year for SU football was be in the top 20 and compete for a conference title in a nice bowl game. The expectation every year for basketball was to be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. And the expectation
I don't know
every
if it
year
was top 4 seed.
I mean, that's a top 16 team in the country. So top 4 or 5 seed. And the expectations for men's lacrosse was obviously, it wasn't even Final Four, really. The expectation was Final Four, but the hope every year was national championship. So, things are different now for a lot of reasons, obviously.
Teams are going to change every year.
Sure. There's
way more better players. Like, back then, all of the good players were in the Big East, in the ACC, and that was it.
Yeah, it's certainly different. I'm not saying that those can be the expectations again, or we should expect that to be the expectations again. I was just pointing out that, to your point, there was a time, and we lived through it, in the 90s, where that was the expectation across the board. It was super high expectations, and again, when your expectations are that high, fans are going to be disappointed more often than
people
not.
hated Jim Boeheim back then when he was good in the regular season. Because he would lose to David Robinson in Navy in the second round. He would,
Richmond, Vermont.
Yeah, he couldn't get past the second round, and they hated him. And then he'd have mediocre seasons to get to the Final Four, and they hated him. There's no winning as a head coach in any sport in any market.
Yeah, right. That's fair.
All right, let's go to Jake in Ithaca. What's up, Jake?
Yeah, you mentioned Michael Carter Williams here when they went to the Final Four. That was actually a great season with him and Chris. They actually were number 1 at one point in that season, destroyed Marquette to go to the Final Four. I think you mean the Michael Bennett, Trevor Cooney Final Four season when they weren't so great. Just wanted to correct you on that, but the other question I had was wondering if you're ever going to open that bag of Terrell's chips there back behind you. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, that's been open. Jordan has filled it with, were they good?
The potato chips?
No, the Michael Carter Williams year. Oh. I feel like they... Didn't they lose to they get smoked by Georgetown at the end of the year?
They had a really good team that year.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
One of the years, maybe it was the year before. I don't remember. That they all blend together like we were talking yesterday. But I feel like there was a Brandon Trish year. They got smoked by Georgetown at the end of the year. And they ended up going to the Final Four.
You're talking about the year they were the Final Four down in Atlanta?
Yeah. What year was it?
Was that 20? Was that the
13?
Yeah, I think so.
Now I'm lost. That's it. Things I need to Google.
Yeah, it was 2013.
What was their record?
You're asking a lot of questions that I don't have off the top of my head, but let's find out together.
There's the roster.
They were 30-10.
Then that is not the year, is it? I feel like there was a year they had a bye. They're 11-7 in the Big East, 5th.
Yeah. So that was they did lose to Georgetown that year.
I feel like they had to win games.
They lost at the end of the regular season. They lost 61-39 at the end of the regular season at Georgetown. But then remember they made it to the championship game.
Yeah, like I feel like they went into that
of the conference tournament. I mean, they were 23-8 that year at the end of the regular season. So
they bought in on defense.
They were a 4 seed in the NCAA.
Yeah, so I'm stupid. I suck at my job. Thank you.
That's okay.
Could have been 2. Well, anyways, there were years they stunk and they had good years. The Tyus battle year, they made the Sweet 16 when they beat Michigan State.
Yeah, I mean
and then lost to Duke barely in the tournament.
They've they had some success as a double-digit seed.
Or was the year they had Deion Waiters and Scoop and the Phantom over back call? Was that a good year? Yeah.
I mean, I think they're all good years compared to
what we're doing now.
We've seen the last handful. So, I think that as you said, there's no winning as a coach because if the expectations are top 4 or 5 seed every year, you're either A, not going to achieve that, or B, you're not going to go on a run in the NCAA tournament. People are going to be disappointed.
That people are mad at me for confusing years. I am sorry that over 25 years I get a little confused. People are so dumb.
It's good that's a good sign that you get confused of Final Four runs because it means they've been to multiple.
Yes, it was a mistake. I was freestyling off of the top of my head. I'm sorry you're all perfect. Stick to music. Stick to... never mind.
It's okay.
All right.
It's okay.
Because nobody ever makes mistakes. We're mad that you don't know what you're talking about and not that you're mixed up. I know what I'm talking about. I confused seasons. I knew exactly how the last game of the year went. I got boat raced by Georgetown.
All right.
No, it's not time for commercials yet.
Well, it kind of is. No? Okay. I was just about to take a break, but if you would like to keep talking, we can.
Yeah, I would love to. Any other years you could think of that were good but were bad at the same time? How about the Tyler Ennis year? That year. I remember that one. They lost to Dayton and Buffalo. That wasn't fun, was it?
But the year itself was really, really good.
Yeah, but was it?
I mean, I feel like that one's one of the exceptions where...
Because they were 25-0?
Yeah, when I look back on that season, I say that was a really good team. Like, that was a successful
Yeah, but they lost to Dayton.
I know.
They didn't hit a shot outside of the lane in that game.
I know.
I don't remember anything.
But I don't... I mean, yes, the loss tarnishes the season a little bit, but that was still...
Do you remember that season?
Yeah.
But you talk about it?
What do you mean?
Like when you're talking, like if someone asked
best teams,
but like if someone asked you, hey, let's talk Syracuse basketball history.
Who are the best teams?
Would you talk about that year?
I think I would.
I would.
They were number 1. They were 25-0.
They won a lot.
But I mean,
in our lifetime.
Well, in recent memory.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that year because it was just kind of meh. After they went 25-0, I feel like people figured them out, and it was kind of downhill from there.
Okay. I mean, obviously the season didn't end the way
I would talk about Jerry's run in the Big East tournament before I talked about that team.
See, that's interesting because
that was awesome.
Well, it was awesome, but then that team fizzled. I mean, they lost to Texas A&M. It wasn't Jerry was hurt. The game wasn't even close.
Yeah, but it was just like their memories of that year are way more fun. They got crushed by DePaul, and they needed to win.
Hang on, what's the topic though? Is the topic?
My favorite teams.
Moments?
Yeah,
or
my favorite teams.
Oh, favorite
moments,
teams?
Yeah, moments, teams. Like,
if you're talking best teams, then that Big East tournament run, that team isn't even in the conversation. Like, that was a spectacular 4-day stretch.
Yes. No, it's not. But if we're talking best teams, I would think the team that lost to Illinois in the Elite Eight is probably the best Syracuse team of my lifetime.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with that. A lot of people would agree with that. Although, I mean, the title team gets top billing because.
Yes, without a doubt.
But yeah, you're right.
But there were that Jerry run was like, you got the press conference, you got buzzer beaters, it was so insane.
You got the fact that they needed to win those games. You know, at least 2 of them.
You're coming off the DePaul game, that might be my favorite Syracuse memory in my years of working the games. That whole run, the championship, the 6 overtime game I would talk about before 25-0. Just moments.
Yeah, okay. Well, as we started this conversation, you were talking about teams, not moments. I would agree with you that moments, going 25-0 is not a moment.
Yeah, that's a pretty big moment.
Well, it was a team. Right, but it was 25 of those moments to build up to that. It wasn't,
like that Tyler Ennis game. Like you don't end games like the pit
the
game.
half court shot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's a moment certainly.
Now, would you rather have 25-0 lose in the second round or team that barely got into the tournament as a 10 seed and make the Final Four?
Well, the answer is always the Final Four, I think.
Is it? Like, because we've had people bitch that, shut up, Jim, that's not how it works. You got to be good at both. You got,
Well, it'd be nice to be good at both, but I think that, Jim Boeheim has said this in the past, and I think he's spot on with this, is that all anyone remembers, and I think you're making the point right now, all anybody remembers is what happens in the tournament, because you're taking the year that they started 25-0 and you're saying all you remember, and obviously it's the way it ended, but you remember the loss at the end in the NCAA tournament where they didn't make a shot, outside of 15 feet. Like, that's the first memory that comes to mind.
We also, Jim and I are close. I'm on one of his lists of people not to hang out with. But when he was losing in the tournament early, it was always, it's very important to have a good regular season. It's tough to be good in the Big East. So, come on.
No, you're right. That was some of the messaging. But I think certainly in recent years, since we've been interviewing him, a lot on this show and whatnot, it depends on, what happens in the tournament defines the season. And I think that's absolutely the case.
This is a silly discussion. It's a fun discussion, guys. It's May 25th in Syracuse, New York. What would you like to talk about?
It's actually May 2nd.
May 2nd, sorry. I was reading the year. I stink at my job.
It's definitely not the 25th yet. But yes, it's the month.
P. Rose. Would you like to talk about P. Rose?
What's there to say? I mean, we did discuss this the other day.
Spatching Louise is going to have salad for lunch. He's considering it. We could talk about that.
Why don't we take a time out? It is 12:30. Let's stay on time here.
That means May the 4th is Sunday. Would you like to talk about Star Wars?
May the 4th is Monday. No, you're right. It is Sunday. Okay.
Boy, we both stink at our jobs.
I was thinking the 4th was Monday, but you're right. The 4th is Sunday.
I like how I have bozo takes because I'm doing what our producer wrote on the god darn sheet. So nobody wants to answer the question, though. Like, would you rather?
I think you would rather have high expectations every year. The danger with that is, it's not a danger, but you're going to be disappointed more often than you're not. But I think you want your program, that you want the team you root for.
To be good.
Like, for instance, me and the Bills, right? I want the Bills to be, I want the expectations to be.
That's a prime example right now.
I want the expectations to be, getting to the Super Bowl every year. Like, I want that. And then, yes, at the end, they rip my heart out. But one of these days, they're not going to, and it's going to be glorious.
Okay.
But I would much prefer that than, they're going to be a, 9-7, or now there's 17 games, not, 10-7 and sneak into the playoffs, and, maybe they go on a little bit of a run. I mean, if they went on a run, that would be great. But I like the fact that expectations are high year in and year out.
Yes. Jordan says, let it be known, naming which years were good and which were. Yes, because why would we use examples of the years where they were mediocre or great? Why would we do that? Thank you.
All right, let's take a timeout if you would like to check in.
Would you rather have Syracuse football be great and lose in a bowl game? Like the bowl games, like football's totally different.
Yeah.
If you make the playoff, that's awesome. Right?
Yes.
Like now it's almost disappointing. Like, do people care that you're in the Cheetos Bowl or the Lawnmower Bowl?
No, not at all. And now that they've expanded to 12 teams, now you really don't care.
Yeah.
But I think for a program like Syracuse, getting to bowl games, and if you can stack those, year after year after year, and right now they've been able to stack 3 in a row, that's where you got to start. So I think that is an achievement right now. But as you do that on a consistent basis, then the expectation goes up to, okay, you've done that. What's the next step?
No on this. We'll talk about Syracuse football because they got a good receiver. But on this, when does not making the playoff become a problem for someone like Fran Brown if he is in bowls every year. Not on that during the break. All right?
Okay.
Because it happens. Because the fans get tired. Right? Like, the Bills, if they make the playoffs again for 2 more years and they don't win the Super Bowl, they're going to want to fire the coach.
Oh, man. Okay.
Are you denying that's going to happen?
With the Bills, no. If Fran Brown gets to like 8, 9, 10 wins on a regular basis but doesn't make the playoff, I don't think he has anything to worry about.
You don't think the fans will turn on him?
I don't know. I know I was wrong about Adrian Autry in year 1, but no, I don't think they'll turn on him. If he goes 8, 9, 10 wins every year, like if he averages like 8.5 wins,
he doesn't make the playoff, but he goes 7 straight years of making bowl games, people will want him fired.
I think that's ludicrous. Like I really do. I really do.
You do?
I do.
It's going to happen.
I would love to see it happen. Like I would love to have that conversation of 7 straight wins.
It would be a good problem to have. But like if they
Paulie, like 1 or 2 teams from the ACC get into the tournament, the playoff every year.
If
he's not a top 2 team,
as you
in the
raise
ACC,
the bar, your job seat will get hotter easier.
Man, I don't know. I think you're wrong on this one, but I was wrong about.
You don't think the fans would turn on him?
Turn on him?
Yeah. We can't win the big one. Let's get someone in here that can win the big one. You don't think that'll happen? It happens in every sport, Steve.
I mean, what are you comparing him to, though? Like, it's not like.
His job will be safe, guys. That's not what I'm asking. I'm not saying if he's going to get fired. The fans will start saying he can't get us to the playoff. It's time to move on.
Man. Like, do you agree with that? Or
I am telling you, the fans will say that, Steve. We do a talk radio show in this market.
Man, I hope you're wrong about that. Like, that would blow my mind if he was averaging 8.5 wins a year.
Pittsburgh fans are calling for a guy who's never had a losing season to be fired in Pittsburgh for the Steelers.
It's different, though. That's different. It's NFL. It's there is
it's big boy football.
Well,
when you become a contender,
but there's a history of winning with the Steelers.
You're going to start building that history if you're in bowl games every year, Steve.
Right, but not making the playoff, and you didn't say hot seat, but you said people will want him to.
I think
lose
the university
his job.
wouldn't fire him in a second, but the fans will start saying he can't win the big one.
I'm gonna raise you, like you made a bold statement there. I'm gonna raise you. If Fran Brown is here for 7 years, they're going to the playoff, I think.
Okay, that's very possible.
So I don't think we're going to have this conversation, not because of that they're not going to be good. I think we won't have this conversation. If he stays, I think they'll find a way to the playoff at least once.
Okay,
in that 7-year span. You agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I tend to agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a timeout. 315-437-7644. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
Oh, I love you guys, too. You're all so great. Gabriel Bazingo, am I wrong about that? You guys, you don't read your own chat, like what you guys say. You guys will want Fran Brown fired if he doesn't make the playoff and is just going to the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. What do you guys want to talk about right now? What do you want to talk about? Pick a topic and let me know what you want to talk about, and we'll do it. Okay, you want to talk about the Knicks? Mulch, concrete butts. That okay. Happy birthday, CJC. Tulips. How about you planting tulips? We are going to talk MLB. We've got 2 hours to fill. We actually have MLB scheduled for 1:30.
Kevin from Liverpool. My son is doing landscaping this summer, so if you need a landscaping guy, let me know.
I don't want a date. I just want you guys to go away. I wish I could do a show for myself. We are going to talk about the Derby also. I don't need a girlfriend.
No haggling, no fake sales, no theatrics.
I just hate that you guys are better coaches, you're better radio hosts, you're better at everything than everybody. And I hate it. I'm sick of it. Not you, San Diego Q's. I like you.
Jen, yes, he is working for a landscaper. A friend of his has started a company, and they do landscaping. He started like a year or two ago. Luke's been there. Luke did it last summer too. He's doing it this summer.
Would you go to the Derby? Would you enjoy the Derby? Like I think like if I had a sports bucket list and you could pick 5 things, would that be amongst them?
Probably not. You ever been to Saratoga?
No. Been to Del Mar, but never sure.
So, like, I like going to the races, and Saratoga is probably as big as I would want to go. Like, there's a point where it gets too crowded, and you can't really, like, the Derby is just nuts. There's just, like, people everywhere, and, you know, like, even at Saratoga, sometimes you got to find, like, you know, you got to, like, scope out a spot where you can actually see the track and see, you know, and get up close. I don't know. I think the Derby might be chaos.
What about take your favorite team out of it? Like what sports event would you like to go to?
Sports event. I tell you what, probably number one on my list would be the Masters.
Okay, I can see that. You know what? I might agree with you on that.
My dad went to a practice round many years ago, and he just raves about what a great experience it was. I would love that.
As having been to multiple of them, I want to go as a fan to a Final Four. Like not even just like first, like as a fan of a team. I just want to go to a Final Four and watch a game like that, and not be working. Oh, I wish it was. Closing time, Steve. Get it? Songs about clocks and time.
Gotta look at your watch for that.
It is not May 25th. It's May 2nd, in case I confused anybody.
Closing time.
Let's go to Scooter. Scooter, what's up?
Hey, listen, there's a new sequel out to the Field of Dreams movie. You probably seen Field of Dreams, right?
Of course.
Yes.
New sequel. If they pay you, they will come.
Yeah.
So basically, I think like Kentucky's going to find out that $20 million if you don't win the title in $20 million, if that's considered a successful season or not. So I think it's going to be based on how much you invest in now from here on in, what they consider a successful season. Paulie, I'm glad you mentioned Coach Boeheim-isms at the beginning of his career, because I'll never forget the 1991 season. First time they won the regular season Big East outright. They're the 1 seed in the Big East. So he says, "Oh, the regular season means nothing." Fine. Well, they end up losing to Villanova the first time that a 1 seed lost in the first round of the Big East tournament. Of course, we lost to the Richmond Spiders the first time. So a second seed lost to a 15. And he says, "Why people upset? Because we had a great regular season." So I think it's just I think it's basically how you're playing, because at the end of his career. We're doing better in March than we were regular season. I thought the year you were going to talk about was the year that we went to the Final Four and beat Virginia, because everybody said, at least they said, the only reason why we made the tournament so we did in November in the Bahamas. If you look at the ACC, I think we lost to Pittsburgh, I think the last game of the regular season, and we lost the first round. Everybody thought that was a play-in game. So that was an interesting season where we didn't have a great regular season. Of course, we made the Final Four.
That was a wild one, too, where that was the tournament leaked before they got to announce it, too, right? And we were all like, that can't be right. Syracuse isn't a 10 seed.
Yeah, I mean, you got the 2 years mixed up, but that happens. But yeah, that was quite the run. I mean, going from a 10 seed to the Final Four, and surprising Virginia along the way. They you go back to that tournament, has called up their path that year. So they beat Dayton, and then remember they caught a break. They didn't have to play Michigan State. Middle Tennessee State beat them, and then Syracuse crushed Middle Tennessee, and then Syracuse got Gonzaga, who was an 11 seed that year. Didn't have to play Utah, who was the 3 seed. So they skipped out on the 2 and the 3 seed, but it's still obviously very impressive that they went on that run, and then they had to get by the top seed Virginia to get to the Final Four, and they did.
Steve, I think I found something that the chat likes.
What's that?
Like they're all talking about because we're kind of in May and it's hypothetical time, and I asked you bucket list, like if you could go to one sporting event as a fan, excluding your favorite team, what would you go to? And they're all playing along. People say the Indianapolis 500 is great. You said the Masters.
I think it would be Masters for me.
What would be number 2 on your list? Because I said Final Four as a fan would be mine, and not working, and just soak it in.
I've never been, so I've covered some things, right? I would probably say World Series. I've never covered
like
a World
7,
Series.
Though, right?
Right.
It's going to be a Game 7, right?
A Game 7, like a Yankees home Game 7, like that would be electric.
U.S. Open tennis would be fun.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think.
But you kind of have to.
That would be in my top 10, but it wouldn't be.
But that for me, it would have to be like Serena Williams worthy, or I would need to be excited about a particular competitor.
Jack Sock,
maybe. Remember like Jimmy Connors back in the day?
You remember the Connors when he went on that run?
Yeah,
when he went on that run, he was an old guy out there beating everybody. Yeah, that was cool.
That like something like that, or Pete Sampras, or Andre Agassi, or like somebody that I would root for. I think that would be cool.
I think the Super Bowl is everybody's top 5, right? Without a question.
I mean, if you're talking, you said my team excluded.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I don't much care for going.
Wouldn't you rather go to a Super Bowl that your favorite team was? Maybe I'm weird at this. I would rather go to a Super Bowl that my favorite team wasn't in.
No, not for me.
Than go and watch my favorite team.
No, because we've both been to NFL games before. Like a big part of the experience is like rooting for your team. Like if you didn't have a rooting interest, would it really be that exciting?
I don't like watching but I don't like watching my favorite teams with other people.
Like you mentioned,
unless they're all fans.
You mentioned in the break Final Four, but you said I don't want to go and like root for a team. I just want to go to a Final Four
and soak it in. Yeah.
Yeah, but like you're in these like massive arenas. You're like so far away from the game. Like I guess it would be cool to be there like the weekend, but like the game itself, I don't know. To me, and maybe it's because you and I have, we've been to so many games and tournament games. When I don't know if I would care about it unless I had a reason to care about it.
Yeah, I've never been to a game like where I could just sit and like just watch people, and I don't know. Maybe I'm weird that I like watching the fans enjoy themselves and go nuts, and it'd be fun.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I would say probably for me it would be Masters first, Game 7 of the World Series second.
Like at the ACC tournament the past couple of years, after SU games, after they get eliminated, I went up and I grabbed a beer and sat in the stands and watched. It was fun. It was fun to just watch people react to the game.
But you're relatively close, though.
No, I sat in the stands.
Did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. So it was fun. Like the ACC, the Big East tournament. I would love to just go watch one of those.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe someday when I retire or get fired soon, hopefully.
Retire or get fired.
The guy who could fire me will be on later. In 10 minutes. Take a break. Come back.
All right. We'll wrap up hour number one next. Matt Park coming up at 1. We should have asked Scooter who he had for Kentucky Derby. That was a missed opportunity.
Matt Park got to do one of the bucket list things this year, I think.
Play Pebble Beach?
No, I think he was at the Masters.
Oh, was
he? Yeah, I think he got to check it out, or at least the early round.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Well, we're going to have to ask him about that.
I think he was there.
I hope you're truthful about that. I hope you didn't just make that up.
I didn't make it up. I think I heard it, but he was there for something.
Okay. All right. We'll ask him in 10 minutes. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
You remember my trip to Miami a couple years ago that I drove, and you guys told me I was nuts? I drove by Augusta, and you can't see anything. It's just a gate.
Right.
I went 4 hours out of my way.
Did you really?
To see a gate. Yeah, it was stupid. Jackie got to go see Wimbledon. Oh, the World Series of Poker. I would like to play in that just because. You ever caught yourself watching things like cornhole or fishing and been like, what the hell am I doing?
You know what was on the other night? It was late at night. I was flipping
Darts?
channels. It was the wiffle ball championships. I'm like,
I don't know how they hit those pitches.
That's what I was thinking. Like, so I watched it for a good 5 minutes because I wanted to see the same thing. Like, if the pitcher's throwing strikes, you have like no chance.
I like that thing too. They should just do that in baseball. Have that box there. And if it hits it, it's a strike, and if it doesn't,
I mean, it was almost like the batter had to guess where the ball was going to be in order to hit it.
I miss online poker. Like, I used to sit up all night just playing dollar tables, penny tables. Why is it illegal to play online poker? That's so stupid. Fix that. You know people. You're on TV. Hey, San Diego Q's, did you actually leave? Because I had a question for you. Like, I want to know how people in San Diego are reacting to that skid they had. Oh, he did leave. Oops. Would Wimbledon be a top 5?
I'm not a huge tennis guy, but that would be really cool.
I said U.S. Open just because I don't fly, so it kind of takes that out of it.
If Leighton Hewitt were playing, I would be there.
A Premier League game? Yeah. Are you guys happy now? We're all talking hypotheticals that you enjoy.
So when we went to London, we went to an Arsenal game.
Humble brag.
And that was really cool. That was really cool.
NHL games are awesome too. Hockey games live are awesome. I was up late last night working on my side hustle, and I'm tired. And I've been doing a lot of sunny stuff. I'm very tired. Sorry I was yelling. I don't say sorry often, but I'm sorry I was yelling. No, I was up doing my side hustle. Starting my own business. And my brother was drunk, and he's my business partner. And he was annoying. It was like doing homework with a fifth grader. Doing math homework with a fifth grader. No, the tree's not off my deck yet. You want to come get it? No, I'm not selling myself for sex.
I just had a friend of mine pass this along. I'm just forwarding it to you. You can read it later.
What?
There's a local.
Yes, Polly's OnlyFans.
there's a local like initiative to like anybody who wants to donate like baseball cards or like cards that you're just gonna toss. There's like a local organization that's collecting them and then giving them to like inner city youth.
Oh, okay. You know this one, Steve?
Of course. Hootie.
Songs about clocks
Darius
and time.
Rucker. Yeah.
Why you punish me?
Do you know you're punishing your own business, Steve, if you don't market it properly? That's why you need to get results that matter from Galaxy Media Paper Partners. Well, we're all about results here, Steve. The sales staff, I deal with them daily. They work tirelessly on your marketing campaigns to make a difference. GalaxyMediaPartners.com. Get your business cooking. Thank you. You all right? You just went silent.
Well, I was waiting for you to be done.
I said thank you.
Oh, okay. I was looking into the Kentucky Derby. I was looking at the odds and the various choices, competitors.
Any funny names? Let's see if Steve thinks names are funny or not, and we agree with him. Because that's how I pick my horses. Best name.
Oh, there's a horse named Journalism. I might have to pick that one. Although he's
hysterical.
He's one of the favorite. I didn't say it was funny, but and there's another one named Publisher.
There's one that I can't even pronounce. Final Game, American Promise, Baba, Luxor Cafe, Journalism.
That's what I just said.
East Ave Publisher. There's Journalism.
That's what
and
I just
Publisher,
said.
And Tiztastic. That's probably the one I'll pick.
Tiztastic?
Tiztastic is 20-1.
Well, Journalism is one of the favorites.
Render Judgment is 30-1. Coal Battle, 30-1. Sandman, Sovereignty, Chunk of Gold, 30-1. You ever bet on Chunk of Gold? Owen Almighty is 30-1 also. I still have a horse betting app on my phone because of when we used to bet live on the air.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to bet Tiztastic and Chunk of Gold to win it.
You make a nice little payday if one of them wins.
Oh, yeah. I'd get a chunk of gold, if you know what I mean.
31-1.
You know who's a chunk of gold in this world? Matt Park.
Who may or may not have gone to Augusta.
Yeah. We'll take a time out. We'll speak to our very own chunk of gold next.
All right. Matt Park on the other side. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
I knew he said it. I was just rereading them. I was shocked by it. Sandman. That's a cool name. How do you pronounce the one that I can't pronounce? Neoquios? Neoquios is 30-1. You see that one?
What's that?
Neoquios? Is that how you spell it? Whatever the hell that name is. Nequos?
Neo Equos, I would say. 53-1. That he might be he's the longest shot.
Chunk of gold. So, Steve, I was up all night doing this, making emails for my new side hustle to send to people that subscribe and stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. Maybe I'll use Galaxy Media Partners to market my goods.
Jason Worth, the former baseball player, has a horse in this.
Yeah, he's done that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a big horse guy. Call him Big Horse Guy. Wasn't he in it last? Did he win it last year?
I don't know. I don't really follow horse racing.
Why do people love the DV Buying Center? It's an easy, fast way to get a check. That's why. The Buying Center at Drivers Village. See why at selltodv.com.
The countdown is on to the Summit Federal Credit Union Taste of Syracuse. The area's largest food festival is back June 6th and 7th in and around Clinton Square. As always, admission is totally free. Chow down on $2.
Kevin, that's funny you said about you play a game where, some of the horses' names are real, some are fake. We used to do that like back in the day when Chris McManus were here. He made up a game called Astro or Padre, and he would just come up with like a random baseball player, and I had to decide if it was a Houston Astro or a San Diego Padre.
Sciatica, stenosis, and back pain don't always mean surgery, and pills can lead to problems. If you want to consider another option, consider our stem cell solution at Richard Kim Medicine.
Definitely summer material.
Short recovery. This means adding real quality to your life without ever seeing a surgeon. It's time to change your life and call Richard Kim Medicine. Free consultations 518-871-9900 or at richardkimmedicine.com.
Freedom of riding a motorcycle on the open road can be a thrilling adventure. At William Attar, we also know that motorcycle riders can face many challenges. In a crash, they can sustain severe injuries that can be deadly. William Attar is New York's largest motor vehicle accident firm.
You know why we're talking? Like, nobody's posted anything on Instagram. Like, remember last year we were even questioning if JJ was going to come back? Because there was, like, fucking... He said something weird on Instagram.
There was a picture of him like waving.
Yeah,
right?
waving goodbye, and we all fucking read into it. Oh, my side hustle, guys, I'm opening an online card shop. Not a secret anymore. Getting there slowly but surely. Now that would be a great horse name, Blowmore Cox. Jordan could be the jockey. Riding Blowmore. Those, I could watch movies on jockeys. What they do to themselves is insane. It's like a horrible life. Dude. Songs about clocks and time today is chosen by Stephen Fonte. You know this one, Steve?
Of course.
This is a banger. Time After Time. Cyndi Lauper.
All right. As promised, we kick off hour number 2 by going to our guest line and bringing on the voice of the Orange, Matt Park. And Matt, before we get into SU sports, Paulie said that you were down in Augusta, Georgia recently. Is this true? Tell me about it.
I was. That's true. Can we I got something to get to before we get to that.
Okay.
I didn't hear the end of the show yesterday. Did you cap it with the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald with Gordon Lightfoot?
We that was the second
to last.
Sundown was the last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had a guest coming in after that song played, so we kind of like brought down the room, but we
kind of a downer. It's a hell of a song, hell of a story. Yes, I did make my way to Augusta and had a blast.
So
it's
tell me about it.
Experience I would recommend anybody.
Was it practice round? Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to go. I think I've been 3 of the last 4 years now, and only for practice rounds, which is totally fine by me. And I would recommend to anybody that loves golf or really even loves going to sporting events because it's the best customer service experience. It's just an incredible time and privileged to be able to do it. Weather was great. The crowd was bigger this time than I recall the past couple. We did do the John Daly thing at Hooters, which is one of Polly's favorite dining establishments. So we got the full experience.
Let me ask you this, Matt. You know, we were talking about your bucket list of sporting events to attend. You've done the Masters. What would be next for you?
Probably Kentucky Derby. And not that I'm a huge horse racing guy or whatever, and I know it's tomorrow, just because of the uniqueness of it. I've tried to at least say in my life that I've been to a little bit of everything. I've seen boxing live and tennis live, both at Turning Stone, like once each. Super Bowl obviously would be great. I can't imagine they do as good a job for the fan experience as the Masters. But I've been to, all the majors except, the one across the pond. And unfortunately, I'd love to go to the World Series. But probably my first answer to that would be Kentucky Derby. Second would be either the World Series or the Super Bowl.
Nice. You're going to have to share with me your secret, by the way, going 3 of the last 4 years. Isn't that like a lottery type situation?
It is. We've got a little bit of end run around that.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you may have to share that with me sometime off air. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to make my way down. My dad did it many years ago, but I've never been. All right. Let's,
the thing that people say about going to the Masters, they say 2 things. One, everyone who's gone, that what they say to other people who haven't been is 2 things. One, the elevation change in the course you don't realize from TV, you don't recognize until you get there. That's absolutely true. And number 2 is no blade of grass is out of place. Like this year, I actually saw a leaf on the ground. It was like astonishing that they missed it. But then the way I explain it is like for people that love golf and play in this area, the 10th hole at Augusta is like the first hole at Green Lakes if you put the tee in the parking lot and tilted the green even more. I mean, it's just mind blowing. The property itself is so beautiful, and everybody's in a great mood. The merchandising thing is a study unto itself, and so it's an awesome experience.
All right, that's definitely on my list. I got to get down there. All right, let's talk some Q sports now, and we'll start with football. And it's been a very successful week for Fran Brown in the portal. Obviously, landed Jonte Cook yesterday, but several linemen both sides of the ball, and Steve Angeli recently out of the portal. What do you make of all these additions, and how do you feel about the roster? I guess right now as we enter the month of May, still a long ways before they're playing football.
Yeah, I think it's all great. I think the what I make of the overall scene is that you've got a head coach who is very well suited for what's going on right now. He doesn't complain about it. He is very practical and transparent about it. I don't think he claims that, Syracuse is the all-time greatest landing spot for everybody and all of that, but he sells the university with pride. He's obviously stretching the dollar and is making that work beyond anybody's, vision, I think. I mean, I have a little bit of an inkling, but the idea of, to answer the question of where's the money coming from, obviously they need every nickel they can get, but he's getting bang for his buck. He just being around him the other day, I think he's just very practical the way he lays it out there for these guys. This is what I can do for you. And if the guy says he wants more, then it's like, well, are you aware of everything we're offering here? Because you're not necessarily going to get that at the next place. We think we're offering a pretty good package. And if you're going to the next place for a little bit more money, more power to you, you're a loss. And as he's been transparent about, even with his own players, if you're going to the next place for a lot more money, double, triple, quadruple the money, he tips his cap and he helps you pack your bags. I mean, you know what I mean? Like he's not holding anybody back or strong-arming them into arrangements to play here. So I think he makes a very strong recruiting pitch about the experience, the education, the coaching, the culture of the program, and then the money obviously comes into play. As he says, Benjamin Franklin is the number one recruiter, so the money's got to be there. But I think he's winning some battles where maybe the money is not as competitive as the guy's other offers. And what he's closed here recently has been pretty impressive.
Matt, how important is the fact that at Syracuse you're able to get on the field too? Whereas you might get more money elsewhere, but it might be a more difficult road to getting on the field.
Yeah, I think that's true in general. I think if you look at the recent defections, the people that came after Trevor Pena and Murad Watson, they aren't putting them on the bench.
Yeah, right.
Those guys are going to play there too, and they're getting big money, money that Syracuse wasn't willing to match and didn't think it was worth. But yeah, that's true. I think that's becoming less true though, Paulie, because I think the depth in the roster is getting that much stronger. Now, what you're talking about is portal people. They're, by definition, they are additions. So you're putting them into positions where you have need, where you're trying to augment the roster, and that's worth paying for. Not every guy is coming here just for the dollars. I mean, there's a lot of people that are coming for the conventional reasons, and certainly you have your freshmen, and with 105 people on the roster, you've got to get them from a lot of different directions and built in different ways.
What do you make of the quarterback situation? Ricky Collins named the starter, before the spring game, obviously didn't play in the spring game because of his hand injury. And then, Fran said, I'm going to go out and get another quarterback, and he did. And it seems like there's going to be, at the very least, a competition over the summer and into fall camp, who the quarterback is going to be. What do you make of how the whole thing has played out over the course of the last month or so?
Yeah, my own personal read on this is not inside intel or something I've gotten from people there is, yes, it will be a competition with the odds on Angeli, and that is only going to help Collins, who has even more eligibility. And they're trying to build, the Kyle McCord year obviously worked great for everybody concerned, right? But in general, you don't want to be dealing with 1-year transactions and 1-year rentals, particularly at the quarterback position. And so when you bring in guys that have a little more eligibility and you can start overlapping them, and now you're really talking about building a program, and so that's what I think they have in mind. I think they would have been fine with Collins if that was the only option. But Angeli is maybe a little more suited to what they do, and Collins can get there. So I'd put my bet on Angeli to start opening day. Does Collins have a role? I think that remains to be seen. But the idea is that they're overall stronger for it in terms of the way the offense is built and what Jeff Nixon does and what Nunzio does and that type of thing. And they're going to try to really have a strong quarterback position for the long haul.
All right, let's move on to basketball. And Paulie and I talked about this the other day and did not agree on this the other day, but there's this idea out there that apparently the ACC is looking into reducing the number of conference games from 20 down to 18, and the thought being that they'll give everybody 2 extra opportunities to go out of conference and make a splash, with a marquee game or 2 and try to add that to their resume and make the ACC schools more attractive come NCAA tournament time. What are your thoughts on this particular proposal, and do you think it'll have any impact? Do you think it'll help?
I don't know enough yet about what to expect or how it works out. I think what it does is provide a little more discretion to the schools. And let's not kid ourselves. Not everybody's going to go out and schedule challenge games. You can't. Some are going to schedule cream puffs in that capacity. And how does that work? So I don't know, non-conference. The committee claims that it doesn't matter what conference the teams are in that you play. They're just looking at the net rankings. So for me, it just comes down to you have 2 more teams that are by choice or by discretion versus mandated. So it all comes down to what 2 games are you dropping, who are you now not playing in your conference, and who do you add? So that just means it's going to be a great deal of fluctuation across the board. If you say for the sake of argument, okay, you're not going to play anybody twice then, or only one team twice. Well, if you look at Syracuse, that means they drop BC and Pitt a second time, or they drop the odd second game against Notre Dame or Virginia Tech. Syracuse's schedule hasn't been the problem. They just haven't won enough games.
Right.
I think that's true for a lot of these teams. How about win more than a couple of the ACC, SEC challenge? Then let's see what it does to your conference. So I can't say with certainty one way or the other whether that's a good idea, a bad idea. I would have to see more numbers and hear more about it. To me, it just comes back to, okay, the ball's back in the court of the staff now, the coaches and ADs, to come up with something for scheduling purposes. And, the conference schedule starts later. Like, you wouldn't have a December conference game, more than likely, unless they rigged it where these non-conference games are going to be inserted in February just for the TV appeal. I could see that. Like, in other words, if they said, hey, you're taking out 2 conference games and you're going to play the Big 12 twice in February, okay, whatever. I just don't know if it makes much of a difference that instead of playing Virginia, you're playing TCU. All right, whatever. I don't know that it's all what do the numbers come down to at any time. I mean, but you want to go pick a fight with the Big East and I'd like to see Syracuse play some Big East schools and do some different things and have some flexibility in the non-conference schedule. I just don't know that it necessarily games the system the way you want.
Matt, you hosted a state of the program with Alex Klein and Coach Autry earlier this week. What were your takeaways from that? Are you more confident in the roster building, and do you think they're done?
I don't think they're done. I don't think they're out there to find any warm body to hold up the uniform, but I don't think they're done. There could always be that late ad from really any angle. Is it, Peter Majstorovic from Europe? Is it somebody who they think is a find from the portal? It just hasn't committed yet. So I could see that. I think they are comfortable with what they have if they go into it. I guess some of my takeaways were they're pleased with how they went about their process. They know what they're looking for. The people they got fit their mold and fit their eye. Now, the results on the court are going to tell whether they were looking for the right thing and whether that was the right thing to compete in the conference and against the schedule they have and that type of deal. They feel like they're getting better. I like the comment that maybe one of the things that raised my eyebrows that Red said was about Luke Fennell from Australia, that they think he projects maybe as high as a top 25 type recruit. That's the highest praise I've heard for him. So, I don't think you want to make your hay on freshmen, but if you got 3, maybe 4 really good ones, then you're taking a step forward. I just don't think freshmen in the modern climate are always going to be the answer, but I think they've got an infusion of talent coming in right now that happens to be freshmen, and that's not always going to be the norm that they'll bring in for a year.
Red missed out on a couple of transfers just recently, losing one to Wichita State, and everybody's up in arms. Do you think that was a issue of playing time, or was it a Red or money issue, or to that matter?
Yeah, I think it's I think at the end it has to do probably with playing time. I mean, the individual you're talking about is, I think, kind of an in-the-mix bench player for Syracuse. Goes to Wichita, and maybe he's a bigger role for them. I think I heard you guys talking on the show that there was some snark on the chat or whatever about, Wichita's a power, we're losing out to a heavyweight like Wichita. Wichita's got more resources than you know about, okay? They have an arena that they sell out. They don't have football. You got to know what you're talking about when it comes to what the resources are to schools, relatively speaking, and where the athletes fit in, relatively speaking. Syracuse and Wichita historically are nowhere near one another geographically or in the same class of basketball programs. If, I don't think Syracuse is losing any sleep over losing a guy to Wichita.
All right, Matt. Good stuff as always. We love having you on. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the Derby if you're watching, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, Voice of the Orange, Matt Park joining us here. We'll hit a timeout. We'll get to today's business. Jackson Roberts coming up in about 10 minutes. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Shocker. You know what that is?
I do now.
That would be my horse name. I mowed my lawn yesterday too, Steve.
How'd it go?
Good. I took a day off from the gym and mowed my lawn. I need to relax.
Have you done your TMJ yet?
No. It's going to be a couple weeks before they can get to me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't drop. I'm not Stephen Fonte. I can't be like, I'm Stephen Fonte. I need to be seen immediately. I'm not Matt Park. I don't just get to walk onto the course at the Masters every year.
Do you know what his go-around is? No.
This is the first time I had heard he went, so...
I feel like that's something that would come up over the course of the last 4 years.
I don't really talk to him out of season. We usually do one or two things. We had talked about going to the Padres series at Yankee Stadium, but that's this week. So next.
Oh man. No, Kim doesn't mow the lawn. She just power washes.
I'm not a sweaty person, Steve.
Yeah.
But mowing your lawn causes you to, at least me, causes me to sweat in a way I don't normally sweat. I perspire a lot. Does Kim mow your lawn, Steve?
No, I addressed that. I said she just power washes. Yeah.
Eaton Beaver's going to play, Steve. I don't know why our Chad is 5 years old, but I love it. Oh, I get swamp ash, yeah, big time. It's like there's mowing your lawn and walking the fair cause a level of sweat in me that isn't natural, and I don't know why. I need to buy a weed whacker. Is that true, Steve? You have a pair of emergency underwear? I usually have an emergency shirt in my car in case I spill on it.
I do bring an extra pair of boxers, like on trips, like just because.
Don't you like on trips? Wouldn't you pack extra underwear?
That's what I'm saying.
No, he's like in your glove box.
Oh no,
just in case.
Watch live on QSportsTalk.com.
This is Orange Nation.
Oops. If I could turn back time, I stink at my job.
That's the third time you've said that today.
Yeah, it's. I say it a lot. I don't claim to be the best, except for I do claim to be a 3-time award winner. A lot.
Well, you are.
Great question from the chat. Like I haven't done it in a long time, but I used to have an emergency shirt and pants in my car just in case I spill something. I got to get back into that. I don't know why I stopped doing that.
Yeah, I've got extra clothes at the office. Same reason.
I get coffee on me a lot. Jordan, do you have emergency clothes?
No, but I spilled like an entire bottle of green tea on the rug out in the office probably like an hour ago.
No, nice knowing you.
Yeah, need an emergency rug.
I have a. I
was just gonna say.
I don't.
Paulie can find you a rug.
I don't have a.
I guess it's more of carpeting.
I don't have carpet at my house anymore. I have hardwoods. I brought my rug cleaner here and have the cleaning stuff, so you can just steam it right out.
Oh.
Well, didn't you just buy a new rug because
it's a throw rug in the bathroom.
I know. I'm saying you can help him out.
No, but I do have my steam cleaner here. I donated it to the office for spills.
There you go.
Because somebody here is disgusting and lets their dog destroy the carpeting. Thank you.
Today's business
brought to you by
Grossman Say No More CPAs.
And their website?
GSACPAs.com. All right, gentlemen, I come to you with a question. I've gotten some opinions on it from two very knowledgeable men in the Syracuse lacrosse world, the current and former play-by-play broadcasters, who have both pretty much said, like, there's an argument, but it depends how you frame it. This game today against Notre Dame, paired with the first-round tournament game, assuming they make the tournament, is this like the most important pair of Syracuse men's lacrosse games in a decade? Where I'm coming from is...
If they win tonight, tonight's game's important, right? It's the most important game in a long time. If they win, they have to play another one, obviously, but I wouldn't say that game's as important. Just get in now. Right now, you just got to get in the dance.
I think Jordan's point, though, is, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but if they lose tonight, they could still get in the NCAA tournament. But if they win tonight and then get in the NCAA tournament and then lose in the first round, a year in which they started the season preseason number 2,
this goes to our
it's going to be hard to swallow.
Yeah, just they need to get into the tournament, and you got to win tonight. You got to make it a no-brainer. You don't need it's a bid steal happen. We learned that yesterday, that there are potentials for not as good as other years.
Right.
I listened to this interview.
You did.
Not as good as other years, but there's a possibility of a bid stealer. So tonight's game is a huge game.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think if and when they make the NCAA tournament, that first one is a huge game as well. So I see what you're saying, Jordan. I mean, I can't really argue with that. It's really, really important for this program to, A, make the NCAA tournament, and B, not lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
So Rutgers didn't win the Big Ten, so that's already one bid stealer eliminated. I would fight back a bit on the premise of this game is very important, but the next is not. Getting into the tournament is enough. Because I think there's a difference between you have a bad season versus you get into the tournament and then lose a game that's kind of a surprise. You know, you can get shocked. Versus what we have here, which is we see this team going down. And you lose 4 of your last 5, 5 of your last 5 to end the season, as you said, preseason number 2. I mean, most talented roster Gary Gate has had, top 5, top 3 maybe player in the country. I think it's like a fork in the road sort of thing. It's like with the Knicks right now, who just advanced against the Pistons. If they had got knocked out in the first round, where do we go from here? With that roster, where do we go from here? And I think if this team gets knocked out of the first round of the tournament, and it's not a shocker, it's something happened at the end of the season, and they haven't been as good. It's where do we go from here? How much more talented can we get?
Something's
got to change.
To that point, though, what has happened?
More turnovers, worse on ground balls. That's a lot of what Tim has talked about, and Gary's said it's.
But what
does that
stuff? What does that stem from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it coaching?
I don't know.
Is that what we're getting at?
I don't know either. That's why I was asking.
We're not going to have that discussion this year, are we?
No.
I mean, I don't know what it's getting
Our
at.
chat
but
will.
If that's the answer, then yeah, what can you change? Like, can you get more talented? Like, but that's where I'm at. It's like this team is so talented. If they lose 4 or 5 of the last 5, get knocked out of the NCAA tournament, and it's not like a giant shocker because they've been playing so bad, what do we do?
So, as Terry Foy said yesterday, that if Syracuse had won just one of these last 3 games, the narrative would be completely different right now. Because you look at who they played, right? It was Cornell neutral site, Duke away, and then North Carolina at home. And if one of those games goes differently, the conversation is completely different. And it wasn't like they were, blown out. I mean, they're right in the Cornell and Duke games. Well, North Carolina for that matter as well. I mean, any of those 3 could have turned out to be a win. So I don't know if it's as dire as we're making it out to be. And I agree with you. Like, it's concerning that they've lost 3 in a row. It's concerning that they're on the proverbial bubble. But I don't know if it's as dire as we're making it out to be, unless they lose to Notre Dame and then lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and then it's 5 in a row, and then you can't ignore that.
Cornell, I see what you're saying, but Duke, they were held scoreless in 2 separate quarters. UNC, they had a lead and just collapsed.
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying everything's fine.
Oh, I know.
I'm just saying
saying, like, I know they were quote unquote close losses, but I'd say both of those for different reasons were like concerning losses. Like, you got to be playing your best lacrosse right now.
Yeah, I thought the North Carolina one in particular was concerning, given how much that game meant, given how much they turned the ball over, given the fact that they had the lead. Given you look at the stats from that game, they lost the turnover battle, they lost the ground ball battle. North Carolina dominated the second half. Face-offs were an issue in that game. Like, there was a lot, I think, to be concerned about in that North Carolina game. I don't think there's like this. It's not like they're getting blown out. It's not like there's this massive gap between Syracuse and the teams they're playing. I think they have to buckle down. They have to take care of the little things, and we'll see if they can get it done tonight against this is an elite opponent. And if they win this one, all is well. If they lose it, then you're right. Some of these conversations need to be had about, what in the world is going on with this team.
I'm worried because Notre Dame's going to be mad. Last team Syracuse beat. But, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully
they've gone the opposite directions in the win-loss category.
Yeah, Notre Dame hasn't lost since that game, and Syracuse hasn't won.
I listen. I've been paying a lot of attention to the cross interviews.
You're locked in. I love it.
And again, just to put a bow on it, this obviously all ties back to beginning of the show. Expectations. This is what happens when it's Final Four or bust. This happens, and people start wondering, like, what do we do? There's a bow. I tied it a little bit.
Fair
Dateline Nutbush, Tennessee, right outside of Memphis. Have you ever, like, I like to think I have my finger on the pulse of American society, Steve.
Yeah.
It's it's May 2nd, 2025. How in the world are there still cockfighting rings going on in America? Like, how do you find out about that?
Word of mouth, I think.
But how do people not, like, word of mouth, like, doesn't it get back to the police quickly?
Well, it got back to somebody because you're talking about it.
BetOnline.ag.
Jose Naranjano was charged with 47 counts of animal cruelty. Like nobody's ever bet. Like, I've had friends ask me to, like, after parties and to do weird things. Hey, want to go cow tipping? Like, stuff like that. Nobody's ever been like, hey, want to go watch a couple chickens fight? Like, that's never come up in my life.
Good. That's a good thing.
But it's prevalent, right? It's got to be happening.
I don't know.
I think prevalent's a stretch.
Not in my circles. I don't know.
No, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but it's got to be. People are making money off it.
This is going to sound like a really stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Where's Nutbush?
No, well, no. You said it's right outside of Memphis. The results, like the winner, is it to the death?
Yes.
They fight to the death.
Yes.
Okay.
And they file down their beaks and put razor blades on their
Really?
Yeah, legs.
Oh.
Yeah. It's crazy. I've never been.
How do you know so much about it?
Because I was just reading the story,
Likely
Steve.
story,
And there's the. I'm not going to get into it because it's graphic, but like, no, it's crazy. And there's like champs and whatnot. Like there's the king of the roost, But yeah,
the loser is never going to be the champ.
Do you think there's like one in Onondaga County? Like
I don't think so.
Ring?
I mean, I have no idea.
Not. You would assume yes, right?
You would assume?
I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't either.
I think you guys underestimate.
We're naive.
America, yeah.
I just don't want to know if there is.
I don't either, but like if they are, I hope they're all arrested. Thank you.
All right, let's hit a timeout. We've got Jackson Roberts, MLB writer for Sporting News.
You ever been to Nutbush?
No, didn't know it existed. Been to Memphis multiple times.
You might have driven through. And not
I guess so. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
It's not happening in Syracuse, maybe Cato or all. Yeah, that's like Nutbush. Cockfighting in Nutbush.
I hope there's not.
I would assume there is. I'm sure there's dog fighting and cockfighting going on in central New York.
All I could think about on air, but I wasn't going to say it because it makes me sad, but is Rooster Ramon. Just one of them being named Rooster Ramon.
There used to be a wrestler called the Red Rooster.
Rooster Ramon and Chicken Guerrero.
Brian Higgins for the win. February. Syracuse has a long history of cockfighting. That's an article for April of this year. Wow. I don't even know what you're talking about, Michael Antonio. I'm trying to do a radio show. What the hell is this? I just clicked on a link. I'm probably downloading a virus. I can't. I don't have this Spotify on this computer. It won't let me. Jackson, Rod, you ready to talk baseball?
Yeah.
Did you see that guy fall at Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Did he? What happened to him?
He's in critical condition.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock.
No, this isn't Happy Days.
9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
Although Steve has very many Richie Cunningham qualities. I think I'd be Ralph Mouth, right? Jordan would be.
That fits.
Jordan would be Potsy. If we were Happy Days characters, that was our gang.
I'd have to agree.
We don't have a Fonz, that's for sure. There's nobody that cool. Well, maybe our guest, Jackson Roberts. Could
nice segue as we bring in our good friend Jackson Roberts, MLB writer for the Sporting News. Jackson, how are you today?
I'm doing great. It's Friday. It's baseball season, and the weather started heating up. I can't imagine more ideal circumstances.
Let's talk about your Red Sox. We'll start there with a team that's moved up into second place in the AL East, thanks in part to the Blue Jays going 3-7 in their last 10. How do you anticipate the Red Sox faring in this division this year? Do you think they have enough to compete with the Yankees, or do you see them, more so a team that's going to compete for that second spot in a wild card spot?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Yankees are necessarily, the scariest team to play against in that division or in the AL. I mean, I feel like most people are kind of feeling like the Red Sox were dark horses in the division in the American League heading into the season, and I don't see why that might have changed, except for the fact that, I live and die on every pitch that team throws every night, and the last 2 nights they've absolutely ripped my heart out with bullpen collapses. So it's this whole thing where you can watch them and just see how much more talent is there than last year, how much better rounded they are as a group, and they've played stretches where they look like the best team in the AL, and then they just have 3-4 days where they just kind of go to sleep on you. So it is May 2nd. I think things will even out. I do think they are going to compete for, if not win, the AL East, and I anticipate them still making the playoffs. But I would really love to see them just stop blowing these very winnable games like they had the last 2 nights.
One of the surprise teams early in the season, at least surprise to me, I don't know if it's a surprise to you, but the Detroit Tigers, one of the 3 teams in the MLB right now with 20 wins. You got something you want to add to that?
Are we seeing another Houston Astros brewing here with the Detroit Tigers, Jackson? That they're young, they're good, and they could be good for a long time, right?
They certainly could be good for a long time. I'm pretty shocked by how good the Tigers have been just on offense specifically. I think we knew their pitching was going to be pretty good, but, no one saw the Spencer Torkelson resurgence coming like this. No one saw Zach McKinstry having a huge first month or Dylan Dingler stepping up and winning the starting catcher job. So, I certainly think long-term there's opportunity for this team to keep growing. They're young. They're exciting. If they can hit like this, we know they can pitch, so I feel like they've got an opportunity to be good for a long time. At the same time, though, it's tough to compare anyone to the Astros for, how dominant they've been for the past decade. Like, that takes a lot more than just one good playoff run and a good first month of the next season. They've got to, prove they can really do it in October and keep doing this year in, year out.
Yeah, but where I was going with that is, like, this team, if they are as good as they're playing now, this could be good for a long time.
Oh, for sure. And the AL Central, too. That's an opportunity where a lot of these other teams in the division are not very scary, and you could really, establish yourself as kind of the year in, year out division champs like the Astros did.
You think they're the favorites in that division, the Tigers?
Yeah, I would say so at this point, for sure. I'm not ruling out Cleveland just because Cleveland always finds a way to compete. And if Kansas City can find anyone besides Bobby Witt Jr. to do something on offense, then I would give them a bit of a chance too. But right now, I think it's, Tigers are probably like 2-1 favorites in that division.
Let's go to the NL East and the Braves, 7-3 in their last 10, starting to play their way, back up the standings here a little bit. Do you think the Braves are at the end of the day going to be a key player in that division this year?
Yeah, Braves in the playoffs for sure. They started 0-7. It was a nightmare. Starting pitching wasn't good, hasn't been good. You hate to see you have Reynaldo Lopez on the IL for maybe 6-7 months, and you have made literally one start, and he's back on the IL as well. So that stings. I think that offensively, they haven't been getting the contributions they need from some of their key guys. Ozzie Albies hasn't been doing much. Matt Olson coming alive a little bit, still not doing much. And I think those guys will pick it up. And I think ultimately it's going to come down to what do they look like when Ronald Acuna Jr. is back. I think if he plays not necessarily 2023 MVP level, but a tick or two below that, they can make a run at the division. They can make a run at the NL title. If not, they probably have to try and sneak in the playoffs like they did last year.
When you look at the Mets, it's hard. I just looked at the record and was shocked at how good they were, because everywhere on social media you see everybody just complaining about Juan Soto, but they're 21-11. Are they that good, and are you worried about Juan Soto?
Juan Soto hit 2 home runs yesterday, so no, I'm not worried about Juan Soto. I mean, it's kind of crazy. The guy's got a 136 OPS plus after all these quote-unquote struggles, so he's 36% better than league average, so really not worried about him. I think that adding him, even if he hasn't been at his best, has just brought out the best in Pete Alonso, and you're seeing him basically be the best in the National League so far this year. So I love it for them. But I think the real story with the Mets pitching and the starting pitching specifically, which everyone said was going to be Achilles' heel coming into the season, and instead it's been their biggest strength, essentially. Just guys they got off the scrap heap. Griffin Canning was on the Braves after that Jorge Soler trade this offseason, and they just cut him loose, and the Mets scooped him up. And the same, Clay Holmes, Yankee fans didn't want him around anymore. Now he's got a 2.6 ERA as a starter. So what they've become as a pitching development factory with guys who are kind of, established as mediocre at the major league level is really impressive.
The Colorado Rockies are really, really bad. 6-25. At what point, I know it's still early, but at what point do you start just selling off leading up to the deadline? And, the deadline's obviously a ways off, but they're historically bad right now. Do you foresee them being the first team to kind of just start selling off parts? And if so, what do they have that would be valuable to another team, another franchise?
I don't even know where to begin with this Rockies team, because you're right. That's what they should already be doing. They should already have all their ducks in a row to be like, who can we sell? What can we get for them? When's the right time to move them? Which teams, prospects should we be targeting? But the Rockies, for the past 5 years, and they haven't been anywhere close to contending for the playoffs in that time frame, haven't sold. They've only sold their, rental guys who they know aren't going to be back next year. Like they traded Cal Quantrill last year for a bag of bones, whatever. They should be trading Ryan McMahon. They should absolutely. Kyle Farmer sees a 1-year rental. They should be trading their pitchers, Kyle Freeland, Herman Marquez, and their entire bullpen should be up for grabs. But the Rockies don't operate like a smart Major League Baseball team. I don't know what they actually, what their 5-year plan is at all. And meanwhile, it's like this whole thing at the top of the ladder where ownership just knows, hey, we have this beautiful downtown ballpark in Denver. We're still getting 30,000 fans a night for a 6-25 baseball team. So, what's the point in trying? And that's a really harmful mindset. And it's not like they never spend money, but they haven't spent it well. And then they just immediately either look to get out of those contracts or, just allow someone like Chris Bryant to stay on the roster forever. And it's just they don't have a coherent strategy. And I think, if anything, this is good because losing this much might make, voices start to grow a little louder around the baseball community that change needs to happen.
All right, I've got to ask you about the Padres. I'd like to ask you one question. Do you think they did enough to weather this storm with all the injuries? They got a rise back. Looks like Merrill's coming back Monday, and Jake Cronenworth after the Yankees series. Are they good enough to have survived what they went through?
I mean, if you're going to go through kind of the injury bug, I think they picked the right time to do it, right? You just want to get that out of the way as early as possible. Obviously, you hope that doesn't linger later into the season. But let me flip it on you, though, because, as a Red Sox fan, I've been watching 5 years of Nick Pivetta pitching, and I knew he had talent, don't get me wrong. And I kind of thought, if the right team gets him, he's going to be really good because Fenway's a tough place to pitch. He gives up a lot of homers, et cetera. So when you're watching Nick Pivetta pitch, does it match the eye test, the numbers he's putting up so far?
He's been great at home. I will tell you that, Petco's notoriously good for home. But the Padres, someone, this is deep in the woods of Padres baseball, but their pitching coach, Ruben Niebla, is a wizard. And he's made a lot of pitchers look good since I've been a Padres fan and since he's been there.
Yeah, you have to say so. Michael King, same thing.
Yeah.
I feel like they're set up to contend for sure this year. I don't really worry about, a couple injuries here and there. I certainly wonder about what that roster is going to look like in the next couple of years, but I think Preller kind of just puts it together from year to year and doesn't think too far into the future. So I would do the same as a fan and just hope they can do something in the playoffs this year.
All right, Jackson. Good stuff as always. Enjoy the weekend, and I'm sure we'll be talking baseball with you again very soon.
That sounds like a plan. Have a great weekend, fellas.
All right, Jackson Roberts.
I was really thrown off by the Mets record.
Yeah.
I thought they stunk. Like, I haven't been paying that much attention. But on social media, all it is Mets fans complaining about them and Yankees fans laughing at them. And they're 21-11.
Yeah, I mean, Soto hadn't hit a home run at Citi Field until yesterday, and then he hit 2 of them.
Yeah.
But they've been very good. They've won a lot of close games, and unfortunately lost these last 2 to the Diamondbacks. But they're playing really good baseball, and like I said, they're getting timely hitting, and it's that team is a lot more than just Juan Soto.
Yeah.
You know. All right, let's hit our final timeout. We'll wrap things up next on ESPN Radio.
That's a weird flex too. Is like, I hate it. I always say I hate it. Like when fans like celebrate a guy being bad because he decided to go to another team or because he's really good. Like why people hated Jeter and Brady. Why are you guys talking about Elephant Man's bones?
He said trade him for a bag of bones.
Oh. Okay. That would be you'd get a good player for that bag of bones. Matt Park is impressed at your maturity level that you do not bite on cockfighting and nutbush.
Why would he say?
He just said he didn't even bite on that. No. I can't just pass up a story about cockfighting and nutbush. Are we echoing? Yeah, I grew up way inland in Oceanside, up in an area called Mission Meadows.
Got it. And he's the only question.
I lived right on the border of Oceanside and Vista. And I went to church at the Mission San Luis Rey in Oceanside. And I went to Vista High School and Lincoln Middle School and Santa Fe Elementary. Oh, I'm not right. Where I grew up in a pretty upper middle class area, like Stephen Fonte. We end Songs About Clocks Day with Clocks by Coldplay. No brainer, right?
No brainer.
Be thinking for next Friday. Your Artist of the Day choices for Monday, the 5th. I've got my calendar corrected. All right. You ready?
I'm waiting.
I'm waiting too. How about we could double up two, because the lead singer of The Pretenders married the lead singer of The Simple Minds. So we could do Pretenders, Simple Minds mix. All right. How's that?
I don't hate that.
That's a little out of the average normal thing we do. Guns N' Roses. Avril Lavigne. She's coming to Syracuse. And how about one more? How about just one? Terrence Trent D'Arby. Terrence Trent D'Arby. He's got a new name now, and I don't know what it is. The Pretenders and Simple Minds.
What do you mean it's a new name? What does that mean?
He's got a new name. He changed his name.
Okay. You can't just say that and then not tell me what the name is.
I don't know, but he's got a new name.
All right. I'm going to Google it. I'm going to go with the collaboration.
I feel like you give us Guns N' Roses as an option a lot. Have we ever actually picked them?
I don't know.
I'm going to vote for them, not because I actually want it, but because you're giving us new options. So I'm going to also make a concession and say we don't always do the best job picking the new options. So Guns N' Roses is my vote. And an olive branch.
I am going Terrence Trent D'Arby. So the chat, Terrence Trent D'Arby, Simple Minds, Pretenders, or Guns N' Roses. Next vote under Matt from Auburn.
He does have a new name.
GNR wins.
I can't even pronounce what his name is. So, I don't.
GNR tomorrow.
Okay. We got Guns N' Roses. It's not tomorrow, Monday, but
Monday,
yes.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So, okay, before we go.
Sananda Maitreya.
Very important question. You are Richie Cunningham, without doubt, but the chat has picked up on this. Is Jordan Ralph or Potsy, or am I Ralph or Potsy? I think I had it right. Important. I'm Ralph, right?
I would agree with that.
I'm Ralph, and he's Potsy.
Not knowing a lot about Happy Days, I would lean Potsy, because if you were to pronounce my name as Italian as it probably should be,
Jordan
it would
Capozzi.
be Capozzi.
Yeah, so I would say you are Potsy and I'm Ralph Malf, without a doubt.
I would agree with that.
We need to find a Fonzie for this show, though. We don't have one.
I feel like it's Scooter, because sometimes he goes, "Ay."
All right.
Enjoy the weekend, everybody. We've got Cody coming up at 3, Brian at 4.
Nope.
We're back at it. No,
Just Brian.
Just Brian. No Cody at 3.
No Cody Fridays in May.
Okay, that's good to know. I'll commit that to memory. Brian at 4. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.